The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is a Monday in the Riv, and another shooting, and another, all kinds of things. The weekend flush was like War and Peace this weekend. And so we got a ton of stuff. Rumors, speculations, more things to do. So
yeah, well,
where do we begin, CJ?
Well, let's begin with the WBSM story. WBSM, Ken Pittman, posted an article about Steve Camara. And the article read, "How is Fall River Councilor Camara on the ballot?" This was an opinion. According to the Fall River Elections Office, the candidate must reside in Fall River in order to be eligible to run for public office. In reading the city charter, it states eligibility. Any voter shall be eligible to hold the office of councilor at large. If a councilor at large removes from the city during the councilor's term, the office shall immediately be deemed vacant and filled in the manner and provisions of Section 211. The city council shall determine whether a councilor has removed from the city. Well, guess what? Steve Camara filed a declaration of homestead. Now, you can only file this one time on one house. And it says that when you file this, you hereby declare the homestead pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 188. And that, it's kind of hard to read this, but describe below and occupy for, basically what the law says is you're occupying this for your principal residence. And that's on Westport. That's his Westport property. And this document was filed on September 19th, 2014. So for the past 2 years, he has been, or actually more, since 2014, he's been acting as a city councilor illegally.
Well, it would seem from reading this, and actually, they did quote the Homestead Act, and it says this is a Homestead Act can be declared only on an applicant's, quote, principal residence, unquote. A person can have more than one residence, but the statute only allows the protection on one's primary dwelling.
Exactly.
There is no legislative intent to allow the exemption to apply to a vacation home that is not principal. So he either secured the Homestead Act for his Westport home under false pretenses, and that's a federal issue, or state issue, or he had to declare that as principal residence, so he has two principal residences, so he's either ineligible to be a city councilor, or he's ineligible for the Homestead Act on his Westport home.
Exactly.
So, again, trying to game the system.
Well, I filed an opposition at 9 o'clock this morning to him appearing on the ballot and for the city council to declare his seat vacant. Kelly Susie Young called the Secretary of State's office and got the breakdown. They said that objections had to be filed back in August, but that would be to the nomination papers. I can challenge his residency. And as such, that's what I'm doing. I said, well, that's exactly what I did. I challenged his residency. So he has to decide, is he a resident of Fall River or is he a resident of Westport? And if he's a resident of Fall River, he better be living at 55 LeBaron Street because I never see his car there. I go by there all the time.
And then you can challenge his Homestead Act in Westport if he...
And have the district attorney charge him.
That's right.
And that's signed under the pains and penalty of perjury.
Exactly. And also, if he's not living there, is he renting that apartment out?
I believe he might be. because there is somebody living there other than him. And 55 LeBaron Street is still listed as his parents' home with his parents' homestead. Now we get into another issue.
Wow.
Okay? Dead people have a homestead on a property they own. And I believe that the taxes have the senior exemption on it, in which case that's tax fraud. So I'm going to ask the assessor's office
Oh, God.
to look into that, because his mother's been dead for how many years? I mean,
Just when you thought we couldn't find any more corruption,
there it is.
it rears its ugly head. Yeah, God. Well, I guess that old saying is true. Tell me who you walk with, and I'll tell you who you are. And I guess we have to rephrase that now, because he knows he's been staunchly supporting everything for the mayor. So I guess, tell me who you vote for, and I'll tell you who you are.
Exactly.
But obviously, as Ricky Ricardo once said, you got some splaining to do.
You got some splaining to do, Lucy.
That's it.
But you know, the sad part about it is it took a reporter from outside of Fall River to find this. Because nobody would think about that. No, nobody would think about it.
Yeah, I mean,
But
look.
what gave it away was Steve has held several fundraisers for Democratic candidates in the Democratic Party at his Cherry and Webb Lane home. He didn't have it at 55 LeBaron Street. I wonder why.
Maybe because he doesn't live there. I don't know. Maybe because it's nicer out in Westport.
Maybe.
You know, I don't know if I don't exactly. I'm not really that familiar with. But the only thing I can find in Westport is Sanford Road.
That's Westport Harbor.
You know, and it's. I mean, I don't really know the streets. I mean, I can find my way around Westport, but you know, the roads and stuff. I have no idea where this house is. Geographically.
It's in Westport Harbor. Very upscale.
Westport Harbor.
Yes, very upscale, very hoity-toity.
So if you can afford a house up there, why did you have to refinance everything, huh?
Right. Well, that's another question, because if the refinance was community development block grant money, and you have to be a resident of Fall River to use that, now you're getting into federal issues.
Oh my God, that's another. Every time I ask a question, it's another issue.
It's another issue.
Well, you know, welcome to the Riv. You know, and
if you don't get shot, you'll be ripped off.
that's right. You know, and it's like, do we have any politicians that are actually on the up and up?
I don't know, but I sent the opposition letter to the city clerk, the Board of Elections, and to the city council president, because the city council has to declare the seat vacant. And if the Board of Elections rules that he is not a resident of the city of Fall River, the seat has to be declared vacant. And I think Steve Camara may have some issues there.
I'll tell you, it's like just when you think it can't get any more bizarre, it does.
Yeah.
In this city. And like you said, who would ever think of digging? But, you know,
Well, I know Ken Pittman. Ken Pittman is a conservative person, very conservative reporter. And
does he live in Westport?
I'm not sure if he lives in Dartmouth.
He might. He might live in Westport or Dartmouth.
Yeah. But with all the campaign fundraisers being held at the Cherry Webb home, and they're being held by Steve Camara, I'm sure he started putting things together, and he said, I'm going to look and see what's going on here. Now, again, the 55 LeBaron Street home is still registered to his parents, who are deceased, and the Homestead Act is still on it for his parents, who are deceased. So that's going to be very interesting.
So isn't it, well, I mean, obviously, like I said, because I'm not sure of the legal mechanisms involved, but if the house had a Homestead Act, was a Homestead Act home, and the principal residence of his parents, and they're both deceased, does that Homestead Act terminate
Yes.
upon Because obviously, if he inherited that home,
He would have to file a homestead act.
he would have to file he would have to file a homestead act for himself.
Right. Now, he says to Ken Pittman that he was advised that he should file the homestead act on that property. Well, of course, because he didn't have one filed in Fall River. But
Well,
he doesn't understand the consequences of doing that. By doing that, you're declaring Westport as your primary residence.
Well, apparently he's become a master at misinterpreting legal opinions.
Well, that's nothing
Because as he was talking about the legal opinion at length at the council meeting to say that they didn't have the right to remove him because of the Boston case, and then we found out that the Boston case, there's no provision in their charter, no other provisions to allow them the right to exercise that legal option.
Correct.
But if it's in our charter, it's a legal option in this city. Now, if they want to rule that part of the charter unconstitutional, but it is in there now.
Right.
So the city council acted within the scope of the charter. So again, Steve was a little shaky on his, sounds to me like a politician interpreting it the way it's most beneficial for himself.
Oh, you mean it sounds like Joe Macy?
Yeah.
Interpreting it in the most beneficial way for the mayor?
Yeah, so, and that's the problem. And then we have the other article here by Amanda Burke, former chief of staff to Jasiel Correia II, was indicted Thursday on 6 federal charges. They actually, I hate to laugh, because, but no, I know I don't, because it is,
It's comical.
you got to laugh to keep from crying.
It's comical. It really is.
They actually charged her with bribery for paying for her own job.
Well, that's what she was doing.
And it says the indictment also accuses Andrade of bribery for allegedly giving Correia nearly all of her $10,000 snow stipend and $22,800 of her $78,780 salary so she could keep her job. And with falsely telling investigators she loaned, well, that's a misprint obviously, that she only loaned Correia $10,000. So
What do you need it for, bail?
yeah. Well, I hate to deal in speculation and stuff, but in this case we have to, because everything we talk about, there's innuendo. But I heard, and someone said it, and it gets to the point where this is getting so nuts that you can't discount anything, regardless
Exactly.
of how ridiculous it sounds. But I actually had someone tell me that that wasn't to keep her job, that the mayor gave her a stipend and a pay raise because he had already promised to not take his entire salary, and he couldn't give himself a pay raise, so he gave her a pay raise and took a cut of it so he could give himself a pay raise.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, that sounds bizarre, but
it also sounds logical.
And look, nobody's saying that's fact. I want to
Right.
make that perfectly clear. That was another rumor we heard, and I'm not even considering that a Class A rumor yet. It's still a Class C or D rumor. But I mean, everything you hear now, this is like this city is it's a nut house. Every time you turn around, there's something else. Somebody's getting charged. Outside of people getting shot, but it's getting so bad. The political corruption is getting so bad that people are now ignoring shootings.
Exactly.
It was like, oh, there was a shooting over the weekend on Cherry Street, Cherry and Durfee. Who cares? Let's see what's going on with the mayor and the city council. And
It's interesting because we're becoming like old Chicago here.
yeah,
We really are. All we need now is for, Al Capone to come out of the woodwork.
hey, maybe that's why he said he was going to win the election. Remember when Mayor Daley had half the people in Chicago cemeteries voting in every election for him?
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
It is. It's nuts.
It is. It's. I mean, and then the thing is, it's like, we're building houses. It's like, I drove up County Street, I see him building houses where the old Immaculate Conception
Yep.
Church is. I'm going, who would want to come here with all this stuff going on? It's build it,
Build it and they will
and they
come.
won't come. Unless they're coming to the drug treatment facility. And then there was another big rumor that you kind of
Oh, yes.
alluded to in the weekend flush.
They're,
And I think it was on a Facebook.
I don't know if it was on a Facebook posting because that's not where I got it from. I got it actually from a high city official. Inquiries were made of certain individuals in city government on what would it take to be removed from the ballot and what would it take to step down from the office of mayor. And it was made very clear that to be removed from the ballot, such a withdrawal had to be done by 5 p.m. today. And to withdraw as mayor, you just need to resign. Notify the city council that you're resigning. I don't know how
How can
valid.
you resign from a position they
They already
already
threw
took?
you out of.
I don't know. Another bizarre twist.
Another
you know.
bizarre twist. But, I don't know if, and again, I don't classify that as a Class A rumor.
Yeah, no,
But
that's a C or a D.
that's
It's
a
down at the
CRD.
bottom. Yeah.
But it's not beyond.
No, it's not beyond the realm of possibility.
And
I mean,
because
when you
think
think
about it.
about it,
Think about it.
think about it.
Maybe he wants to go out on top. I mean, if he's going to go out, because think 2,000, 2,101 voters go over to Paul Coogan if that happens, because obviously they didn't want Jasiel. What do you do? How? I mean, that's not a landslide. That's a slaughter.
And it may be worse, because if you look at that, and we'll do a little bit of political prognostications here, but excuse me.
Bless you.
God, it's giving me hay fever, this thing. But but if you look at it, some people thought it was going to be really, but most people thought that Paul Coogan was going to win. He was going to get to the final. So maybe a few people didn't come out to vote. They said,
Right.
Somebody else will do it. I got things to do. But let's look at who's coming out in the final election. The people that vote for Sean Kadeem, you think they're going to vote for Jasiel? I doubt it. The people are going to come out to vote for Cliff Ponte, Pamela LeBeau, Steve Long, people who used to vote for Steve Long. All these people are not fans of Jasiel because the people they support are at odds with Jasiel. So it could be like the most epic slaughter in the history of elections.
Exactly.
And I'm not sure if if he wants to go out getting bludgeoned into sand in an election. So it does kind of make sense, because I guess we've eliminated the Mayor Daley tactic from him.
Right.
And so it is, but it's crazy that you can sit here and just spend a half a day figuring out alternate ways of doing things. We've got so many things going on. It's like Steve, look at him. Does he live in Westport? Does he live in Fall River? Is he in the council illegally? Is he in an illegally purchased home under the Homestead Act? We don't know. We're dizzy trying to figure out what is he.
I know, really, it's
just
amazing. And now let's add some frosting on the top of this cake.
Uh-oh.
We got more frosting coming out. City Council candidate Michelle Dion over the weekend.
That was in a flush too.
Yep. Asked the mayor to step down. And it became very contentious because Michelle Dion has always been a very strong supporter of the mayor and what the mayor has done, just as Alan Sylvia always has been. Now, in case you haven't noticed, Alan Sylvia has been kind of absent lately.
Been exceptionally quiet.
Exactly. And Michelle Dion finally said she had to make a decision. And so she's asking the mayor to step down. Now, when your supporter, somebody who supported you that much, is asking you to step down, maybe it's time that you listen. Maybe it's time you listen.
Yeah.
And my big question, and I asked her, we had a phone conversation because she was upset about one of my postings, because she made this announcement on Facebook. And I don't know if she was upset about my posting or if it was unclear to her, and I clarified it a little bit on Facebook so people understood it. She said, this wasn't to save my campaign. Well, it looks like maybe you're doing it to save your campaign. Because people who vote for Paul Coogan and are not voting for Jasiel Correia may not vote for you because you supported Jasiel Correia. Anything's possible.
True.
And, what do? So I'm taking her at her word because guess what? You can't do anything else. That this was not to just save her campaign. It is what is best for Fall River. And she has always maintained that she will always vote in the best interest of Fall River. And so that's it. And she even admitted that her vote for the entertainment venue on the city pier was a wrong vote. And that's why at the next RDA meeting, she moved to cancel that lease for that venue, which is true. She did do that. So it gets to be very interesting how this is starting to pan out. And as I turned around in the flush, I turned around and said, yep, the rats are jumping ship.
Well, I'm sure it had something to do with her campaign, but it could have been the right thing. But, I give her the benefit of the doubt, too,
Exactly.
because I'll take somebody at their word until they prove to me that their word is no good. So I'm going to take her at her word. I would say that, look, she has been a supporter, and I think she supported him far too long. But that's a personal decision.
Right.
Maybe she believed until these last charges came down that, these other charges had nothing to do with it and blah, 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 and then the other charges, and then now more. So maybe she said enough is enough, and she felt as a candidate she needed to take a public position on where she stood because of her close ties with the mayor. Maybe she had to make it clear that even though she did support him at one time, which to me it's not a negative. If you have the courage enough to change a position because you get new information or things change, that doesn't make you, that doesn't make you a flip-flop. That makes you someone who makes decisions based on information. Sometimes you don't have some information that comes forth later on. It's like supporting somebody for a job and then finding out he's a serial killer. Well, you got to kind of withdraw your support and your recommendation for that person for a job. So it's not a bad thing. And so kudos to her for admitting that it wasn't a good vote on the entertainment. Kudos for her for asking the mayor to do the right thing. I think it should have been done sooner, but that's a personal decision. But she made it, and that's the key point, that she did make it, and she made it before the election.
And as we know, hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah.
Hindsight is always 20/20. And as I had the conversation with her, I said, they were in front of the liquor licensing board for a liquor license for the city pier before they went there to be sure they had the city pier. So that told me that the vote was already in at the RDA. Maybe it wasn't in with you, but obviously it was in with everybody else, because that flew through the RDA meeting with no opposition whatsoever. And that is a little weird. And he still hadn't gotten his liquor license. And then when it was revoked and the liquor license was then taken off the table. But this is the same guy who's gotten multiple liquor licenses for multiple restaurants because his daughter is dating the mayor.
Yeah.
What better way to move through Fall River, right?
True. And as I said, it's getting to be it's basically a spectator sport now in Fall River. Watch the politicians at the cost of like I said, I didn't hear a lot of buzz about the shooting.
Nope. Because there's more important things to talk about, like political corruption.
I don't even know if the shooting made the news. I didn't see it on the news.
Yes, I saw it on WJAR, Channel 10.
All right, well.
Yep.
it-
But all they said was there was a shooting in Fall River on Cherry and Durfee Street. The victim got shot in the leg or the calf or something, and he's expected to be fine. That was it. No pictures, no nothing, just done.
Probably missed it because I'm not watching the news as often now with the puppy because I've had my new puppy, and so she's giving me fits because I got to keep, it's full of energy, and
And you're loving it. And you're loving it.
well, I mean, I lost a great dog, and I had it for a very long time, but I'm a dog guy and I need a dog, and it's good to make new memories with a new pup. So.
That's it.
But let's hope that the mayor does the right thing, and let's say, I don't know, I really believe that we've been calling for him to step away since the first charges came down.
Yes, we have.
I truly believe that. I think it's the right thing. Maybe for the wrong reasons he'll withdraw, but if you speculate and he withdraws, probably because he doesn't want to go out that way, getting absolutely mashed. But it'll still be the right result.
If he steps out and withdraws before 5 o'clock this afternoon, because that's the deadline,
Yep.
5 p.m., Erica Scott Pacheco will be placed on the ballot.
Yep.
So she'll get decimated.
I got to make one quick public service announcement. We had a meeting with the insurance committees, PEC and IAC. I'm on a PEC.
Yeah.
But Blue Cross, they're negotiating a contract with South Coast. I know that Blue Cross has put in a full-page ad. South Coast is sending letters to all their people. I have a lot of people that are calling me about it. They're very concerned. And I will tell you what's happening here is negotiations. Charlton Memorial is trying to get a tremendous increase in what they're getting paid for their services. I will not enter into the negotiations because we, as public employees, when I negotiated, we were prohibited from negotiating in the press just for this reason. South Coast sending letters, telling people, scaring people is horrible. It is horrible. It is wrong, and you can call City Hall. I was very vocal with Blue Cross telling them, I do not believe this should be tried in the newspapers. We shouldn't be scaring people and using people as bargaining chips at the table. It's wrong. It is 100% wrong. Shame on Charlton. And if I were bargaining for Blue Cross, I would print the salaries of all their board of directors and remind everybody that they're a nonprofit with all kinds of breaks. And tell you how much their board of directors makes. And they want to get paid like Boston hospitals. Well, if I'm going to pay you like a Boston hospital, I'm going to a Boston hospital. The reality is it's a negotiation. And I said it in the room, and I have witnesses that you can talk to Blue Cross and all the people from the city. Because I've negotiated a lot in my time, and I told them, I don't care if, and I told this to Blue Cross because Charlton wasn't there. I don't care if you and Charlton get in a room and beat each other up for 24 hours a day. That negotiation should stay in the room until it's completed one way or another. It is wrong. You're scaring people unnecessarily. Shame on you.
Well, there's no question about that. But then again, it's all about money, and they want as much as they can get.
That's right.
It's not like they don't take enough out of your pocket. But remember, if this huge increase that they're demanding comes through, you're going to pay it out of your pocket.
You'll pay it in your insurance premiums because that's, the insurance companies aren't going to take that hit.
No, they're not.
So
that's for sure. Hey, everybody, have a great day. We'll see you on Wednesday.